Homeless on purpose. Over the years, the American hobo has been misconstrued as a bum and a tramp. But one small town in Iowa is working to preserve and celebrate the dynamic subculture that is the American hobo.
In 1900, some of Britt's founders were in Chicago actually on business, and the convention for the hobos had moved from city to city. They actually have a formal tourist union. You can pay to become a member even still today, and they did that to avoid being persecuted or prosecuted for vagrancy and loitering. So if you were a card-carrying union member, you couldn't get in trouble with the law. So they had annual meetings where they would elect a king and queen, and in 1899, the city of Chicago was kind of tired of these people hanging around the rail yards and had kind of done a story in the Tribune being not so favorable of the hobos. And so our founders saw that, went to Chicago on business and invited them to come to Britt the following year. So a couple of the hobos actually came to Britt on the train to see how easy it was to get here, toured the town, and the following year in 1900, the first convention was held here in Britt, and it's been here ever since.
The American hobo was essential to Western expansion and helped shape the Midwest by riding the rails and working for little to nothing. Today, a group of volunteers works hard to remind us just how important they are.
The Hobo Museum started in the late 80s, early 90s with a donation from a hobo that had passed away. His family left money to establish some kind of historical collection to keep the hobo history alive, and that's how the museum came into fruition.
The museum has hundreds of pictures and newspaper articles that tell the history of the hobo. But the life of the hobo is perhaps better learned through their arts and music.
It was a way for them to make money. And I think the music really came from, one, it was a way to pass time while they were riding the trains in the boxcars or overnight in the jungles, but it was also a way for them to express their stories and their history in a way that was interesting for everyone else.
The museum celebrates and preserves the history of the hobo, but Britt and its community is what keeps bringing them back. When you get down to it, they're family.
Having been born and raised here, the hobos have always been a part of my family. And ever since I got involved with the museum, say 25 years ago, they became part of my family. And a lot of the hobos have been to my home. A lot of the women hobos have stayed with me because if they need a place, it's hard for a woman to be at the jungle by herself and to sleep on the ground and whatever. So between me and my sister, a lot of the hobo ladies would stay into our homes, and we become a family. And when they're going through hard times, or when my family's going through hard times, we're there for each other. And they're in my heart. I'm part of their family, and they're part of my family.